Okay, guys, I'm here for another retro review. Today we revisit our good friends at WCW with Capitol Combat 1990, May the 19th, 1990, from the DC Armory in Washington, D.C. This is an 8-match show, so our maximum number of stars is 40. So, we open up with the Road Warriors and Norman versus Kevin Sullivan, Cactus Jack, and Bam Bam Bigelow. This is the Road Warriors, as far as I know, final appearance for WCW till 96 together until 95 for Hawk. Because I know by SummerSlam of 1990 they're in the WWE. I know that. So this is a 6-man tag. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not necessarily good. It's 1.5 stars. The Road Warriors and Norman get the win when Hulk hits a flying clothesline on Cactus Jack. Like I said, it's 1.5 stars. So then we get Johnny Ace. I don't know why he keeps showing up on these retro reviews, but Johnny Ace, before the era of people power, is facing Mean Mark, who in November of that year would become The Undertaker. So this is kind of a before they were famous or before they were stars kind of thing, because Johnny Ace didn't really get to become a much bigger name or better worker until he went to Japan. And we all know that Mean Mark, once he landed in WWE and got the gimmick that changed his life, would become one of the most respected legends of the business in The Undertaker. So this is kind of a interesting little match in a way. Mean Mark's also managed by Teddy Long here. So, this is another 1.5 star match. Mean Mark hits a heart punch and hits a flying elbow for the win. This is one of Mean Mark's final WCW appearances. I believe his last one is the next pay-per-view in July at the Great American Bash when he's challenging for the U.S. title. Again, could be wrong on that. But again, by Thanksgiving Eve of 1990, Mean Mark was in the WWE. So, and the rest of they say about him is history, isn't it? So 1.5 stars. So out of 2 matches, our average so far has been 3. So out of a possible 10 max for the first 2 matches, not too bad of a start. So the next match is a tag match, as it's Captain Mike Rotunda and Tommy Rich versus the Samoan SWAT team. It's a 2-star match. Good match. Good match. Finish comes when the SWAT team end up. Tommy Rich has a sleeper on, and one of the Samoan SWAT team, and then the other one comes off the top rope with an axe handle, and allows the legal one to pin Tommy Rich and get the win. 2 stars. So then we get a hair versus excuse me. Then we get a hair versus hair match, as it's Paul Ellering versus Theodore R. Long. This isn't much of a match. Not that it was ever going to be. Teddy Long is not a worker, and technically Paul Ellering is considered a manager too and a non-worker. But he used to be a wrestler till he blew his knee out. So, Paul Ellering gets the win when he hits Teddy Long with one of his loaded boxing gloves. No stars. So then we get the WCW United States Tag Team Championship match. Now, I'm very aware that WCW was still calling themselves the NWA at this time, but they weren't. They were WCW. They had just not pulled away from the NWA. So, this is the WCW Tag Team Championship, even though they say it's the NWA United States Tag Team Championship. It's a WCW title because this was when Ted Turner did own it and had named it WCW. In fact, the ring mat even says World Championship Wrestling. WCW did not pull away from the NWA till like 93 fully, so yeah, it's a complex situation in a way with them. But it's Flyin, Brian, and the Z-Man defending the U.S. tag titles against the Midnight Express. Jim Cornette, who's in the corner of Midnight Express, is in a small cage. He can't interfere, but he can still give advice to Midnight Express. This is a good match. It's 3.5 stars. Finish comes when the Z-Man is about to do something to Bobby Eaton, and Stan Lane hits like a Swat kick to the back of the head, and then Eaton rolls up the Z-Man and gets the win. And the U.S. Tag Titles. 3.5 stars. Good match. So then we get a Corporal punishment match, as it's the Rock and Roll Express versus the Fabulous Freebirds. This is kind of like a strap match, except the straps are on corners of on each team's corner or something. So it's basically a tag team strap match that's a normal tag match. They could have just made this a normal strap match, and I don't really know why, but again, good match. The Rock and Roll Express eventually win when Robert Gibson pins, I believe it is, Michael Hayes. Good match, 3 stars. So then we get the WCW World Tag Team Championship match, as it's the Steiner brothers versus Doom. Doom, of course, while they were in the tag team round robin tournament at Starrcade 89, which they didn't win anything, now they were going to become pretty much the face of the WCW tag team division for almost a whole year. So, now keep this in mind. At this particular point, I don't believe the Steiner brothers had ever been pinned in a match, I think. Could be wrong, but I don't think at this point they'd ever been pinned. That's going to be very important. Like I said, this is a 3.5 star match. Scott Steiner plays the Ricky Morton rolling away. All 4 eventually get in the ring. Ron Simmons throws Scott Steiner in the turnbuckles. Rick Steiner's got Butch Reed on the top rope. Teddy Long distracts the referee. And then Doom double team Rick Steiner, and they end up pinning Rick Steiner. So I believe that was the first time the Steiners have been pinned. It might have been a Starrcade 89, one way or... I know that one of the Steiners or the Road Warriors got their first pinfall loss at that pay-per-view. I just don't know which team it was. But 3.5 stars, and Doom would go on to hold these titles for pretty much a year before they would lose them to the Freebirds at Wrestle War 91, which I've already reviewed. So then we get a steel cage match for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. Ric Flair versus Lex Luger. This is a 3-star match. Now, it should be noted that before the match, the referee takes an illegal object from Ric Flair. I don't know why, because a cage match is no disqualification, and have always been no disqualification. But keep this in mind about the whole thing, because it's going to come into play later. Now, there's a story in this match that Lex Luger had just gotten out of the hospital with a knee injury, and it comes into play in this match. Flair is repeatedly hit into the cage, and blades, typical Ric Flair, blading. That's all Flair seemed to know how to ever do. As good as a wrestler as he was, he's more known for the fact that he did a blade job in almost every match he was in, almost. Until he went to the WWE in around... after WCW folded, and they stopped him from doing it in every match. But this is a match that makes sense. Cage matches of any kind always make sense to have some kind of blood in it anyway, so. So the finish comes. By the way, this is also the pay-per-view that's infamous for RoboCop's appearance, where Arn Anderson has to sell that he's scared of RoboCop, who takes forever even getting anywhere. He rips a bar off the cage that Cornette was in to save Sting, and Sting shows back up, all that. Ole Anderson gets the cage control, raises it. Barry Windham comes in, attacks Luger, that gets a DQ. Yeah, Lex Luger wins this match by DQ. He wins a cage match by disqualification. So, long before Vince Russo, that kind of finish existed. It's a 3-star match, though. And again, they leave something to continue the feud, but they go with Ric Flair and Sting for Great American Bash 90. So, his finish doesn't even make any sense. Luger and Flair might have had a final match at a Clash of Champions before the Great American Bash. I don't really know. So, out of 40 total stars, this show gets an 18. Which is a C-, so it's actually a step up from Wrestle War, which wasn't that good. So, if you like this video, this will be in my Retro Wrestling Review playlist. If you like this video, like button is down there, subscribe button is down there, and thank you for watching. Bye.